Okay, this is a stamp that a friend of mine has, and I'm going to try and get it in the shop. And the big part of it is hope, and then there's a beautiful Bible verse. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. Jeremiah 29:11. Now, as I said a couple of times, if a God box and a scripture is not your thing, then you can make this into anything you want it to be. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear around this sentiment. Get too close there. Okay, because I want some rough edges. And then I'm going to take some distress ink, and I'm going to go around the edges, and I'm going to use tea dye. It seems to be my go-to brown ink. Okay, and I want to get an applicator here. Oh, got one. Use my little foam pad that has brown inks on it. Okay, whoops. Okay, so let's ink that up. Well, my goodness. Now, that could be because I have a felt pad there. Okay. And I'm going to start off of the piece of paper and ink the edges to give it an antique look. And I'm kind of going into the center, but I'm doing that with a lot lighter touch because I want it all to be antique looking, but I don't want it to I want there to be a highlight in the center. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and use some gathered twigs. Trying to find that around the edge to make the edge just a little darker as well. And I'm not going into the center at all there, I'm just going on that torn edge for a little extra dark dimension. Okay. Alright. Now I want to emboss over top of that. I want to clear emboss over top of it to give it some strength and a finish. Had a hard time finding my little tray. Okay. So let's go ahead and cover use my distress ink embossing pad. Make sure I cover it nice and juicy. I tell you what, I think my embossing pad's starting to get a little dry. I'm going to have to get some re-inker, so I'm going to really press down on this. Make sure I get good coverage. Okay. And then pour the clear over top. and emboss. And that gives that a real nice finish, and it kind of accentuates the words. And also I seem to have a little bit of some kind of black grains. Maybe some of my black got mixed up in with it, and you can see that on there, but you know, I'm okay with that because it makes it look even more excuse me, it makes it look even more aged. So I'm going to take this, and I also found this stamp that I got on a clearance sale, and it is an old Stampers Anonymous stamp. How about that? And I'm going to ink it up with black, but I don't want to use sorry, don't want to use the Distress ink. I want to use a permanent, so I'm going to get my StazOn black out. Alright, here we are. And I'm going to ink this up. This is just going to be kind of a background. So if I don't get it really dark, then I'm okay with that. And once I put it over this mottled background, it's going to kind of fade into the back anyway. And it's easier to just take my lid and place it over top of the stamp and press down. Okay, now I hope you can see that. It's just a nice background, and it just gives another little bit of interest. And I'm trying to decide if I want to emboss over this whole thing or not. And I think I'd like to do that. So I'm going to once again ink up with embossing ink. This is a very noisy project. I'm going to go ahead and pour embossing powder on there right from my tray, and pour some more on. Tip it up and tap it off. And then I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing on this end. And I think I'm going to go ahead and pour some more on there just to make sure I have some good coverage. Alright, now let's emboss. didn't take too awful long. Now be careful because the tin will be hot. And I like the kind of mottled effect, or the, you know, it's an uneven finish, and I kind of like that. It's a lot of texture. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's a lot of nice texture. And if you want smooth and glassy, then you can repeat the process. But I like this texture, and I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to go ahead now, let that dry, and I'm going to put some glossy accents on the back of my sentiment, my verse, because I want to make sure that it sticks and sticks well. Because I'm going to be, you know, this box will be stored, but it'll also be used, and I want to just make sure that everything sticks on there well. So I'm using glossy accents. And I'm going to put this down and offset it in this corner. I am a big fan of asymmetrical. You almost never see me put something in the center. So I'm going to do it this way. Hold it down, give it a chance for the glossy accents to get a, you know, to grab a hold. A little bit of it's kind of squeezing out, and that's okay. I'm just using it to cover the edges. Okay. And there's my project. It's a little simple, but it's kind of clean lines, and it's good for the purpose that I want it for. Could decorate it some more, and I may, but I think probably I'm going to leave it as it is. So thanks for making the project with me today, and have a good week.